I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 147, Migration in Post-War Britain, part 2. That is on page 54, while doing a leg injury prevention training, and if you participate in the leg injury prevention training, that is at your own risk. So we had already that Britain had a large amount of destruction from the bombardment of Nazi Germany during the Blitz. And that was, for example, in Coventry and in the East End of London. And there was a labor shortage. And so that means, I still don't know it completely, that there were too less workers, otherwise it wouldn't make sense. That the British governments encouraged workers from Ireland and other parts of Europe to come to the UK, and in 1948 also to the West Indies. So during the 1950s, there was still a shortage of labour in the UK. Again, if labour are people and not the work, if labour are the people doing the work and not the work itself, why is there not an article? During the 1950s, there was still a shortage of labour in the UK. Further immigration was therefore encouraged for economic reasons, and many industries advertised for workers from overseas. So, also 6-7 years after the war, after the government had encouraged people to come from Ireland or from the West Indies, I still don't know where it is, from the West Indies or from Europe, to come to Britain to help to rebuild Britain, there was still in the 1950s too much work or too less workers. And therefore further immigration, so that people coming to the UK, was encouraged. And many industries advertised for workers from overseas. Advertised means they're making promotion for it. So it means that not just the firms, but the whole industries, like the coal industry or the oil industry, but they were now nationalized, but they still need the workers. So whole industries were advertising for workers from overseas. Maybe in that sense it doesn't mean promotion advertising. But many industries also said we want workers, and we need workers, we need them urgently from overseas, from Europe, from Ireland, from West Indies, or from overseas. For example, centers were set up in the West Indies to recruit people to drive buses. So there were industries, let's say just the bus industry, and where you had gone to the West Indies, is that the western part of India? They had gone to the West Indies, and there they had made centers. So they rented a house block or something, and tried to hire people to recruit people for bus driving. Is that the way one has to imagine if it's to fulfill with what happened actually in the real life? Textile and engineering firms from the north of England and in the Midlands sent agents to India and Pakistan to find workers. South West Indies, not in India. We're going to just refer to them separately as they do it. So textile and engineering firms. So textile, we are making these clothes, where we had the carding machine improved by Richard Arkwright, or the cottage farms who were doing it previously to the Industrial Revolution. And engineering firms. What are engineering firms doing? They are building stuff. What I say. They are rebuilding Britain after the war, anything destroyed. But also mechanical stuff. The air industry boomed in the 1930s, and the automobile industry. So stuff like that must be. So textiles and engineering firms from the north of England and from the Midlands. They are in the middle of Great Britain. But I don't know exactly. Sent agents to India and Pakistan to find workers. So not just the bus industry had centers there, but also the textile and the engineering industry were sending people over there who should find and recruit workers. For about 25 years, people from the West Indies, India, Pakistan, and then later Bangladesh travel to work and settle in Britain. So from the 1950s until around the mid-1970s, people from the West Indies, people from India, people from Pakistan, and then also in the later part of the 25 years was very well, also from Bangladesh. Travel to work and settled in Britain. What is the first sentence? And later, travel to work. Yes, I know what that means. They were living still in Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, or West Indies, and they traveled to Britain to work here. And then later on, after they had lived more time in Britain and had traveled back and forth, they directly settled in Britain. Is what that sentence means. Let's take it a bit. Let's now do nothing new anymore. We're going to do now language intervention training. Then I try to find in the world map where the West Indies is, or the Bangladesh is. I know it a little bit. But we will not do anything new, so if you'd like to skip on to the next part, which will be social change in the 1960s, you can just do it. We will not do anything new. Now to the leg intervention training. We're like sitting wide apart. You're breathing in and coming down. And if you participate in it, this is your own risk. And we're breathing again in. And out. Again in. And out. And in. Out. And last round, breathe in. Out. And close legs. And out. Now we're having a good standing leg. The other leg is with a flex foot in the air and we swing with leg, side and front. We're having just with leg swinging. And the foot is flexed, and the toes are pointing more or less in front the whole time. And a couple of them more. And now we figure the leg up. We are having a flexed foot. And the toes are pointing more or less the whole time in front. And a few last ones. And now the next exercise, again a good standing leg. And the other leg is with a flexed foot in the air, and we're bringing the foot front, back, and we're doing it quite fast. And now we're changing the other leg into the air, flexed foot, and we're bringing the foot front and back, and doing it again quite fast. And now to the next exercise. We are bringing one leg up, right angle of the leg, flexed foot, even line hips, toward the back. And we're breathing in and out. And we're bringing the leg to the outside. And breathing in and out, the leg back into the middle. And contract. And now again, the leg up, breathe in. Out to the outside. We're breathing in and out back into the middle. And contract. Now with the other leg up, breathe in, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips out back, breathe out, leg to the outside, breathe again in, and out back into the middle, and contract. And the second time, breathe in and lift the leg up, breathe out to the outside, again in, and out back into the middle, and contract. And the next exercise, again one leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even hips out of the back, and we're pressing with moderate force on the inside. Even lined hips, tall at the back, a little bend in the elbow, and press with moderate force. little longer. Now we're changing. The other leg up, right angle with the leg, flexed foot, even hips off the back. And we're pressing with moderate force against the knee, and we're having a little bend. And we have a little longer. And the last exercise, leg again up, right angle with the leg, flexed foot, even hips off the back. And the knee presses now up into the hand and to the side, up to the side, up to the side. The knee presses up and to the side. Even bent hips, tall with the back, and the knee press up to the side, up to the side. A few last ones. And now with the other leg. The leg comes up into a right angle, foot is flexed, even bent hips, tall with the back, and the knee presses up to the side. To the side. And a few last. And just the last closing exercise, we're breathing in. Out. In. And out. In. Out, we're closing the legs. And we're done with the leg and prevention training. Now let's try to find Bangladesh and West Indies. We can look in the register. On a single country starting with W. But Bangladesh. Where is it? So here's India. Bangladesh is there with green partway. East of India. And the other thing was Pakistan. So Pakistan here, India here, and there Bangladesh. There's Britain. So we got to find West Indies, because that is not a country. It's a region, I guess. But we could find Bangladesh, and we're just going to repeat. So Britain needed to be rebuilt, and there was a labor shortage, whatever it means. I guess there were too less workers, and workers were invited from Ireland, from Europe, and also in 1948 from the West Indies. And when in the 1950s there was still a labor shortage, and people were encouraged to come, centers were set up in West Indies to recruit bus drivers, and agents were sent by the textile and engineering firms to India and Pakistan to find workers. And for 25 years, people from the West Indies, India, Pakistan, and later then Bangladesh traveled to work, and then later settled in Britain. Traveled to work and settled in Britain. Bangladesh. Now, they travel to work and settle in Britain. This is one sentence technically. Travel to work and settle in Britain. They travel to Britain to work in Britain and to settle in Britain. So, like that. But we are still through. I thank you very much, and until next time.